All right, we have one more piece here, which is how Ukraine is doing on the battlefield right now. Let's go ahead and put this up on the screen.
Let's put it up there. This is very important. The reason is that we have said before that the actual fighting season is beginning to come to its most critical phase. So officials, lawmakers in Ukraine are saying that there is one last critical battle that they have the time for to reclaim any territory, especially in the south of the country, before the muddy and the fighting season is brought to an end because of the weather conditions. Again, very time-honored tradition when fighting in this part of the world in World War II and in World War I and in Napoleon's invasion. The Ukrainian gains that they've had right now, there are two things that they need to do. Number one, they need to fortify their supply lines and hang on to the territory that they've claimed. Two, they need to make sure that they're not vulnerable to any sort of Russian counteroffensive. Well, given the state of the Russian forces, I don't think they have to worry too much about that. But three, the thing is that the next month or so is going to be the most critical phase of the war. Said that too also after the very first successful offensive, which is they have very limited time to make the extensive gains that they have been able to. And it is during that period of instability, of annexation by Putin, where things are going to be most up in the air and the risk of nuclear confrontation, of any confrontation with the West, is going to be higher. So anyway, I thought it was important that we warn people, Krystal, that right now really is the most critical time. Also, really spooky, not just because it's October. I think we are 10 days away from the 60th anniversary of the Cuban Missile Crisis, which is crazy. I know. I remember, I was like, wait a second. I was like, the Cuban Missile Crisis was in October of 1962. So I don't know what it is about October, but, you know, spooky not only because of Halloween, and lots of hallmarks of many, many, many failed campaigns where a lot of people died, not on the Ukrainian side, but on all of those who have ever fought in this part of the world, that this time of year is when when there's war in that part of the world, the most death, the most risk, and the highest risk of confrontation appears to be emanating. So we should all be very, very paying close attention as we move. Most estimates say like mid-November or so is whenever things are going to turn for the worse in terms of weather conditions.
Yeah, and even as it's unlikely that the Russian mobilization is really going to turn the tide in this war, we also shouldn't, you know, completely rule that out. And so now is also the time before all of those new recruits, new conscripts are mobilized into the field and trained up and really ready to go. So it's another reason why this is sort of a critical moment for the Ukrainians before winter hits. Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.